Hey everyone, in today's tutorial we are going to do some Christmassy style paintings. We are going to be painting in more of a loose style, and we're going to paint mistletoe, maybe like a little beanie and some Christmas ornaments. And we're just painting these little things because you can add them to gift tags if you want. You can make your own Christmas cards. I'm just showing you some fun little paintings to do, and they might get you in the Christmas spirit. All right, so we're gonna get started. Like I always do, I have two water cups, one for warm colors and one for cool colors. That way we don't get really muddled, murky colors, paint colors. And I'm just waking up my paints here. We're gonna need red. This is a new palette that I'm using. I still have my old plastic one, but that one I'm using for watercolor painting that I'm doing for an invitation suite, and all the colors are really, really muted, so it wasn't the best choice. I didn't want to waste those colors, and I need them to stay on there while I finish the suite, so I picked up my new palette. This palette is from Sugar House Ceramics. My husband got it for me for my birthday, which was in September, and it just arrived, and we are in December now. But they make everything by hand, and they were super backed up, so I totally get it. You're gonna wanna mix up a lighter green and then a darker green. I have some black in here that I'm mixing the green with. That's why it's making it a bit darker. This is definitely too bright for us. If you want to make it that bright, you totally can, but I'm gonna kind of mute it down a little bit with, I think this is a dark blue in the palette. And then we're gonna have some blue for the ornaments. Might add a touch of red, kind of cool it down a little bit. Doesn't have to be perfect. You can use whatever colors you want, like I always say to you guys. But just make sure you have everything kind of ready to go. The watercolor, I can't talk, the custom invitation suite that I'm working on, I was working on it this morning, and I mixed all my colors beforehand, and it helped so much. So I really recommend to just mix up your colors. That way you're not having to think about that when you're in the middle of painting. It's already there. And the last thing we're gonna need is brown for some of the little sticks. Okay, let's start with our mistletoe. Mistletoe is kind of these longer not cone shaped, like they're oval at the top, but then they come to a point. So I'm gonna grab my brown, and I'm just going to make some branches. So I have a size 4 brush today. You could use a size 6 brush for this. I would say size 2 is probably a little too small, but I've been loving my size 4 brush lately, so that's what I'm using. And I'm just lightly dragging my brush over the paper. And we're gonna have this main stem, and then we're gonna have little stems coming out, almost like a little C curve. And that's where all of our leaves are gonna go. Just lightly, I'm using the tip of the brush to make lines. Now, we don't have to worry about this being dry. We can come over and get our green. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to make this shape of the leaf. I'm using the tip and pressing down and kind of circling around, and then just filling it in. Maybe I'll grab a color that's a little bit darker, and the tip, press down, circle around, and just fill it in. And we can come in here and pop in extra color. I'm gonna make my next sleeves a little more bright because that was a little too dull in my opinion. Just making these almost like a long teardrop kind of shape. And it's okay if this touches. I don't know where you guys live, but I'm in Southern California and it has been so dry. So my watercolor has been needing a lot more water than usual. I'm not a fan of the dry. I like humidity. All right, so we got these little guys, and maybe I'll do one more kind of little leaf right here. I'm gonna grab the brown to make a little stem, and then just make a little baby leaf. So pointing, circling down. All right, and mistletoe has berries, so we need to grab some red. And you could do the berries a couple ways. You can just do a little dot, or what I like to do is actually draw a little circle. And you want to mix it up, so some of these are going to be darker, some of them are going to be lighter. And it's totally okay if it bleeds in. Kind of actually like the way that that looks when it does bleed. So I'm just doing like a little circular motion, and if you want to add in a little pop, you can come back and add a little darker color. And there you have it. That's a really simple way to do mistletoe. If you wanted to add in a little depth here, you could grab a darker brown on your brush, just the tip of your brush, and just lightly, I'm not really pressing, I'm just kind of sweeping back and forth to make this little shadow. And it just gives it a little more interest. And again, if you want to pop in more color, you can just grab some pigment and do that. Awesome. So that is our mistletoe. And now we are going to move on and do some ornaments. So for the ornaments, I'm going to do kind of some non-traditional colors. We're going to use pink. And before we do that, let's mix up a color that looks goldish in a way. So I have Yellow Lemon Deep right here. And I'm gonna add in a little bit of brown. It's hard to get a good gold color. I would say we're kind of going for a mustardy color, but we just want it to look like gold because we need it for the tops of the ornaments. So I'm pretty happy with that. Maybe a little more. Does anybody have a favorite Christmas tradition out there? I love Christmas Eve. We go to my parents' house and they have a fire, and we usually just do appetizers and cocktails, and it's just fun. I always feel, this has always been me since I was a little kid, but Christmas Day makes me feel sad because it's like over. It feels like it's over. I don't know why I feel that way, but I'm getting better the older I get because you just realize that you just have to live in the moment. But I think I love Christmas Eve so much because it's the anticipation of Christmas Day. Okay, the first ornament we're gonna do is kind of a long diamondy shape one. These are kind of like vintage style, or in my mind they are. So we're making a C curve, but it's like a kind of flattened C curve, and we're coming down to the tip. And then we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. We're painting in a loose style, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Just grab some water to color it in. And if you want, you can rinse off your brush and then dry off your brush on paper towel and pull up pigment. So you get kind of, looks like it's shining, right? It's pretty cool. And then we're gonna go grab that gold that we just mixed up and just lightly add a couple lines at the top, almost like a little square. And you could do that if you want, so it looks like a little hanger. And it kind of bleeds in, and that's your first ornament. Really, really simple, you guys. Nothing fancy today. The next ornament, I'm gonna make, let's see if I can pull this off. So make a circle, and then you're going to make a line up here. So this is the top of your ornament and has this open circle in the middle. Then I'm just coming around. So I'm making a circle. Get a little more water because we need this to kind of bleed into itself. And then come down to a point just like this one. Same thing on this side. I always love these ornaments. They have a circle in the middle and they're always super shiny. Then just grab your water and move that pigment around. You might have to add a little bit more for it to move with you. Let's punch it in. There we go. And again, grab that gold color. You're just making a little square because it's the top of the ornament, and it's okay if it bleeds. And then you can make a little hanger on there if you want. And for the very middle, I'm gonna go grab that blue color and make a circle and then just some lines. If you want, you can touch and it'll have this little explosion of paint. Actually, that looks way better. Touch the edges. It looks cool. And you can even come in here and add a little water if you want it to blend a little bit, since this is a loose style. And you can also add a dab of color down here and up here if you want it to be darker. And we'll do one more. Let's do a striped one. And I'm gonna go to, let's do red. It doesn't really match with these, but that's okay. You can make them separately. Since we're doing a circle, instead of drawing a circle, we're going to have stripes on the ornament. So think about how the stripes would be. They would start off small and then larger and larger, small, small, small. So one, it's kind of this little C curve. I know this is funky. If this is really hard for you to imagine, just draw a circle in pencil and you can erase it later. But we're just doing some C curves because they would get wider and then they're going to get small again because we're making a circle. I've got a lot of water on my brush right now. And you actually then come back, get water, and we are going to make a circle. And it looks like I did not do a very good job of making a circle with the stripes. So we're just gonna come back and fill it in. This is one of the reasons that I like both styles of watercolor painting, realistic and loose, but with loose, it's hard to mess it up. So that's one of the reasons I like it. And then we want to add in the little top, the gold again. And there we go. So I dripped water over here, you can see. It kind of made it a little funky. There's really, you could try to fix this by painting over it again, but honestly, that's gonna be hard to fix. I don't have a problem with it since this is loose style. I think it's okay. And then the last thing we're gonna paint is a little beanie, and we're gonna make a red beanie with a little puff ball on top. So a beanie is a half globe shape, and then it has kind of like a band around the bottom. So I'm gonna make that band first. Fill it in. And then the globe. And maybe we want to have little circles on here. So make the circles before you paint it all red, because you're not going to be able to go back and remove the paint. And then I'm just adding water to my brush, maybe tap off some of the excess water and just paint around the circles. have two different reds in my palette, and I can see that they are coming out here and I don't want them to be. One's kind of pinkish, so. And then if you want to kind of grab a shot or make it look like the light is hitting it, rinse off your brush, dry off your brush, and then you're able to pull up the pigment. And for the little puff ball, I'm going to grab my red and the tip of my brush and just make these little lines in a circular kind of way. There's a lot of water going on here, and you could make this beanie any color you want. You can also punch in a little extra water if you want it to bleed a little bit more, kind of fill in the center. Put a little shadow on the bottom. And there you have it. Some very simple little watercolor paintings that you can do, and you can add them to your gift tags or make cards or just paint them for fun. I hope you guys like this tutorial. Thanks for watching.